Welcome everyone to Hearts of Iron for Kaiserreich. I am very happy to bring you this mod, which just got released about an hour ago. I've been making sure there are no big bugs, it doesn't seem like it, and so now I'm going to be playing as the Commune of France, one of the most important nations in the whole Kaiserreich universe. If you guys need to be explained what this whole universe is about, I will make a separate video going into a little bit of detail in the lore behind this alternate history, which is very, very deep, actually. So I cannot really do it in one episode without really compromising it. But yeah, just know that the basics. Germany won World War I. France and Britain succumbed to socialist revolutions after the war. Russia got intervened on, so there is no Soviet Union. There's only a very, very unstable Russia that we will most likely see a lot of, and then the entire world is very different. We will see as we progress through the game, because there's a lot of things that happen in this game, so there's a lot to take in. And to make matters a little bit harder for me, because I mean this is one of the major powers that I'm going to be playing, the Commune of France, I'm going to be playing a little bit of a weird house rule that I'm going to limit myself to, which is that I will only build motorized divisions and tank divisions, because I don't know, we don't like going on foot, we're just gonna go on motorized. I don't know, it's just mainly so that it doesn't become too easy on me, because if I was to really, not to brag, it's just that the AI in this game has failed time and time again, so I don't really trust it anymore to bring a good challenge out. I've also strengthened Germany by 2 pips on the difficulty sliders, because going further is a little bit ridiculous. They get some insane bonuses. I've also strengthened the Italian Federation and the Austrian Empire. We will talk more about these two areas of the world as we get into the game. Let's for now assign our generals. I'm gonna assign him, and I'm gonna assign Machno, very interesting guy, over here, and we need a field marshal for this army. Let's set up our factories and get some infantry equipment, because we are going to need that. Get some motorized, lots of it. We're going to need that too. Support equipment. Some artillery. Not really going to need a lot of artillery. The main reason I'm going to be doing this sort of semi-challenge is mostly just so that I don't end up defaulting back on artillery spam as a tactic, which as a major power it really shouldn't, it really shouldn't be used that way. So yeah, let's leave a couple of factories to produce light tanks. Gonna get the light tanks and the motorized at the top of the queue, make sure that they are well supplied with resources. Gonna go for direction of the economy in the national focuses. And then over here in the research, I'm going to go for construction 1, tactical bombers, land doctrines, mobility focus, and then, yeah, the FCM light tank. Then in the Navy, we're going to go for 1 convoy, and then the rest on carriers. Gonna organize my fleet as well. We have 2 fleets over here, the Flotte de la Commune. Probably gonna mispronounce every French word in existence. And I get my submarines a new commander, get my main fleet an admiral. We're pretty weak on admirals, but in general our fleet is pretty strong. We have 4 battleships of the pre-World War I type. Wait, no. We have 14 actually battleships of the pre-World War I type, and a carrier, which is never bad. Then 20 submarines, pretty decent ones. Just submarine 1, but we have a good admiral to command them, so they're going to be pretty useful in combat. As factories go, I will make sure that there's a state where I can go very tall, like Champagne, and I will just produce military factories on that. Then I will get some civilian factories around. And then in terms of training, I'll get motorized going, and for now, nothing else. In terms of resources, we're going to need to trade. Let's get someone that has a lot of influence. We have a lot of influence over. Let's get some from Romania and then the rest from the Netherlands, because I don't want to be taking basically every piece of oil from one country, because they tend to not deliver when you trade for basically all of their resources, because they end up using some of them for themselves. Gonna get rubber from the Netherlands and chromium. I mean, I could get some tungsten, but I don't think it's gonna be worth it. Chromium I could get from Austria. Good. So we do have some things that we're producing that don't require templates. In fact, support equipment. That's pretty good that we don't require any support equipment, because usually it's pretty slow to get that production on that going. And right now it seems like we're ready to go. So let's get the clock going. There's going to be a lot of reading in this. I'm going to read some of the first few events that are kind of important to explain what is actually happening. But then I will let you guys pause and read if you want. Now, this is kind of an explanation of some of the mechanics that are in the Kaiserreich Alpha, namely the political power and stability mechanic, which we can see over here. We have stability, party popularity, and I believe there's supposed to be something else. Your country has no decisions. Oh, I guess that's something that is going to come into play later. This is still an alpha, obviously. Yeah, stability and party popularity are given by your political power in part, your stability, which gives you normal sort of things that you'd expect from stability. So factory output, division organization, and national unity. Very useful to have in general. And then party popularity increases your political power gain depending on your party popularity. I mean, it's self-explanatory. So this is what it reads. Thank you, Kaiserreich team. There's a lot of people that worked on this. It's been worked on since, I believe, Hearts of Iron 2. So yeah. This is a bug. Winning results in the Greater Antilles. I don't care. There's no consequences to that event. The Commune of France. I'm going to read this one because it's sort of a very quick explanation of why the Commune of France exists. The Third Republic ended in the way it began, defeated by the German army and facing communist revolution at home. In November of 1919, a revolutionary general strike was called by the CGT, paralyzing the country and causing the downfall of the bourgeois government. The Party of Order was not strong enough to put an end to unrest, and in the following months the establishment were forced out of France by a coalition of leftist forces in a brief but brutal civil war. For the past 15 years, the self-styled Commune of France, which is us, has united behind the common platform of the syndicalist socialist consensus, headed by the ruling Comité de Salut Public, which is our ruling body. However, by 1936, the consensus that was resolved to rebuild the shattered country and defend the fruits of revolution from foreign menace is deemed as outdated by many critics, and there's a growing call for more radical policies. France is increasingly confident in its security and its mission, but the revolutionary French tradition is varied, and it is unclear precisely which strand should become the dominant in the years to come. Interesting. They mentioned that the establishment went into exile, and it's this country, nationalist France, which is headed by Pétain, and it's in the Entente faction. There are basically three main factions at the start of Kaiserreich. There's the Internationale, which is our faction, Mitteleuropa, which is the faction that Germany heads, and is essentially the continuation of the Central Powers. And then there's the Entente, which is, well, the continuation of the Franco-British axis from World War I. However, both France and Britain had their governments exiled by revolution at home. So the leader of the Entente is Canada, which is headed by George V. So obviously the British royal family ran away from Britain when the revolution happened, and then got to Canada, which means that Canada is actually very important in this mod. It's not an afterthought of a nation at all. And also, nationalist France has its own problems, but it's also pretty important. They've also got some allies around the world, namely the remnants of the British colonial empire, such as the Dominion of India, which in the Darkest Hour and Hearts of Iron 2 version is called Delhi. The Australasian Confederation, which is Australia and New Zealand, and I believe South Africa as well. Oh no, really? Well, South Africa should be in the Entente, but it isn't. Okay. And also the Caribbean Federation. Everyone always forgets the Caribbean Federation. It's just a nice little country that is over here. There's probably not a lot of things happening in this alpha in South America, but in the normal game, when everything will be ported over from Darkest Hour, the South American portion will also be very interesting. So let's get the clock going. We've already got some unfulfilled import requests, as you can see, oil from the Netherlands. So let's... Okay. And then we also cannot get more from Romania because they have decided to trade away their oil to someone else. Everyone else over here is pretty unstable as a trading partner. Russia... oh yeah, I'll explain Russia in a bit. So I guess we're going to have to rely on Venezuela. Oh. They can't? Oh, okay. No, never mind. That was me. Russia is in a weak position because after World War One, there wasn't a... Oh, Mosley wants to talk to Valois. This is a event for the totalists. I'll explain the politics one day, maybe. And essentially, after World War One, what kind of happened was the fall of Marcel Pivert. This is our head of government. These are the ministers. It is a mechanic that doesn't do anything yet, but it does help visualize what is actually happening in the politics. And essentially, our you can read this if you want, but our head of government got replaced, and now there's going to be an election happening. So this is sort of the start of the political line. Now, I don't believe these actually change anything except the political power you gain and the party that you're supporting, because there's these four main factions in our politics. There's the Travailleurs, the Jacobins, the Sorelians, and the Anarchistes. The Anarchists are the radical socialists, aka the more moderate in a way, the more economically focused faction of the Free Socialist parties. The Travailleurs are the more orthodox syndicalists, essentially just normal, industrial-focused, normal foreign policy. And then there's the Jacobins and Sorelians, which are totalists. And they are a little bit more authoritarian. They're a little bit more expansionist in foreign policy, that sort of things. And I'm going to go with Travailleurs, partially because it fits with what I want to do with my army, just due to the restrictions that I'm posing myself. And then also because I'd like to stay Travailleurs as a party. Now, there is I don't know how to say this word. The Renseignements Généraux. That was about the army, by the way, that event. This is about a sort of internal council. And we're going to go with the Travailleurs as well, because there's no real reason to not go Travailleurs right now. And this is going to be a problem because it's going to reduce our stability. Right now, our political power is going down the drain, and it's going to mean that our stability goes down. The internal security, Ministry of Internal Security, we're going to take Pivert, partially because it gives us some manpower, partially because it gives us... Actually, no, it doesn't really give us political power. The Anarchiste would give us some political power. So I'm going to take Anarchiste, actually. These are the four ministers right now. There is the Intel Minister, Intelligence, Economy, Foreign Minister, and the head of government. So the Economic Affairs, we're going to take... This is actually the most interesting one. We could go with Orthodox Syndicalism, which is going to give us some recruit population and a lot of military and civilian factories. We could go with Factory Output from the Jacobins, and we can get 4 infantry divisions for free from the Sorelians, or Sorelian, I don't know how to say that. And then we could get 15% recruitable population factor, which is a lot, especially with our decent population, from the Anarchiste. I think I'm going to go with Orthodox Syndicalism. But I would also like industrialization because of that factory output plus 5%. So I guess I'm going to go with Jacobins. This is probably going to result... Oh, this is Black Monday. This is essentially the second Great Recession in the mod. The normal Great Recession already happens, and it is the reason the United States is in a little bit of trouble at the start. We're gonna see why. But there's also another problem with Germany's stock exchange. They have crashed right now. Of course, since the economies of France and Germany are at all not sort of interconnected because we're mortal enemies, both in terms of politics and in terms of, well, history, then we don't really get any effects from this. But a lot of countries that are in the German sphere do get a lot of pretty terrible economic effects. As you can see, the aftermath of Black Monday is pretty horrible. For example, Austria also gets some problems from Black Monday. I believe also other countries in the German sphere are supposed to get problems from Black Monday, but it doesn't look like any have been introduced yet in the game. Maybe there's going to be some. Foreign affairs. We could go for internationalism, world revolution, revenge against Germany, or European socialism. Right now, the only thing that changes is the relation changes with people. I'm gonna go with internationalism. Seems pretty standard policy. Gonna give us some good relations with certain countries. For some reason, they don't like us. Oh, damn it. Afghanistan has declared war on India. And right now, this is a crisis that pretty much always happens at the start of the game, and it's not good for Afghanistan. They've only got 6 divisions, and Delhi has 25. So you can imagine what's going to happen over there. The results: Travailleur majority. Even if many saw in this election the end of the Travailleur compromise that has ruled the commune since the death of Émile Pouget, they have managed to secure a firm majority during these elections. Even if PV could be recalled at least, or at last, I don't know, which is unlikely, everybody's looking forward. I have forgotten to get out of Steam. Damn it. Okay. I've actually closed Steam now. Perfect. Which is very unlikely. Everyone's looking towards the Russian emigre Boris Souverain, born Souvarine, to lead the commune to its final glory. Congratulations, Comrade Souvarine. So he's going to be our head of government right now, Boris Souvarine. And we're probably going to get some event to change our head of state soon enough as well. High party popularity. Great. That happens because we are over 60%, I believe, in terms of party popularity. So that's going to increase our political power game, which we need because we've got quite a lot of catching up to do on our political power. Political power is very important in Kaiserreich. Sebastian Faur's resignation, and that's our head of state. I believe these don't change anything, so we're going to take, I don't know, Benoit Frachon, because I like his name. Oh, he's got a really cool portrait too, so I guess that was fine. So right now I'm just kind of waiting for my troops to get their equipment, and then I'm going to start training them. There's quite a lot of equipment that we need to catch up on, and since the shortage will last, it seems, for a long time, I'm going to redirect a lot of production on infantry equipment. Direction of the economy. So we've completed the first national focus. The national focus tree for France is obviously very, very, very heavily developed because France is very important to the whole Kaiserreich story. Now, over here, since we've gone with Jacobin economic policy in our communal events, communal election events, we can get communal industrialization. We could have had the orthodox syndicalism or Sorelian economic policy or anarchist economic policy. And over here, as you can see, our choice for military staff also affects what kind of national focuses we can get. If you remember, we took the Travailleur, the tank proponent, and so we can get tanks quicker. I believe there's also one for the diplomacy. Doesn't seem like it. Yeah, no. These focuses aren't done yet, sorry. I like that text. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything over there yet. Ooh, working women. That's a lot of population and factory output. Yeah, gonna have to think about that later. Okay, so these are the diplomatic ones for starting the war in Europe. Okay. We're gonna take. I could take innovation funding, which is going to lead to Blanqui Research Institute, but only after we also take communal industrialization, which is going to give us some nice civilian factories. So we're going to take that first. It's also going to increase our construction speed. Then we're going to have sense of dedication, which is really good actually. A lot of output and production efficiency gap plus 10%. That's really good. Then a lot of civilian factories, international cooperation, more military factories, and industrial research time. Wow, all these focuses are really nice for us. Le Troisième International. We've been preparing for the Third International Congress since 1927. Now we are nearly ready to hold the first Congress right here on Montmartre Hill in Paris, built on the ruins of the Sacré-Cœur. I'm guessing that's a church. For 3 days, the city will host delegates from almost every socialist, syndicalist, and Bolshevik party from across the world. The French will take the floor first. That is, if we are still planning on holding the first Congress and continuing the work on the Second International. Well, the Congress will be held a week after May Day as planned. So a lot of our enemies dislike us for this, but we also get quite a cancel the Congress. What a blunder! Now we also get quite a lot of political power, which is nice because it brings us over to 0. I hope that there's not a lot of this is the Kaiserreich music mod that I'm using, by the way. I hope there's not a lot of copyrighted music in here. Okay, so the first Congress of the Third International. It is time to invite the socialist and syndicalist leaders who will be coming around from all over the globe to attend the first Congress of the Third International. Send out the invitations. So, our comrades around the world, let's take a little bit of a moment to explain this. Let's go into the diplomacy screen. It's always pretty hard to actually get the correct one. Open country list. Okay, so syndicalist, radical socialist, and totalist are the countries that are going to be our friends mostly. We have the French Commune in India, over here. Central America, and, well, Central America, which is over here. The Socialist Republic of Georgia and Italy. Georgia, pretty self-explanatory over here. Italy, over here. The Union of Britain, our friend across the channel, and United Mexican States. So these are going to be our allies, unless something happens, or unless we make something happen to change some other countries over. Heads of socialists, blah, 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 blah. The first Congress of the Third International is opened. You can read all these if you want. I'm not going to read any of these for now. We're going to help the CNTFAI, which is the Socialist Syndicalist Party in, well, not really a party, it's more of a confederation of trade unions in Spain, which is going to be important soon enough. Spain is not really that different from the standard game, except it's still a kingdom and not a republic. But we can make it become a republic if we want. So we've got enough political power actually to change around some laws, or perhaps get some ministers. We cannot get any theorists, unfortunately, but we could get some military staff or industrial concerns. Unfortunately, military staff doesn't still do anything because it's still part of the minister system that they're still kind of fleshing out, and so it's not really available yet. We're gonna definitely like a little bit more construction speed for our factories, so we're gonna take the Société Métallurgique de Normandie, and then we could also go for another one. I wonder if they stack. Okay, so right now, John Jack Reed and the Combined Syndicates. This is about America, so we're gonna give them our support. Unemployment and radicalism in Latin America. We will begin to nurture syndicalism in Latin America. Hold on, I want to see. So right now, it's going to complete in the 7th of January, or June 1936. And if we take another industrial manufacturer, oh yeah, that will stack. Good. So now we've got quite a lot of construction speed, and so we're going to be ready to industrialize as quickly as we can. And then after that, in terms of our government, we're probably, our industrial concerns, we're probably going to take something regarding motorized production. I don't know. We'll see if we have something available. Women's role in the worldwide revolution. participation of working women is necessary to achieve the worldwide revolution. Whoa, La Marseillaise. Okay. White Terror. This is about repression all over the world. Denounce the capitalist murders and the socialist democratic assistants. Yes, denounce them. Guarantee our friends in Naples aid when the time comes. Our friends in Naples is obviously the Socialist Republic of Italy, headed by Togliatti. In case you know anything about Italian politics, this guy was pretty important in the Cold War. World economic crisis and the world of Third International. Obviously, the world crisis being Black Monday kind of helps our cause a little bit, because if our enemies are in crisis, well, then we're going to be pretty well off. Barfia Commune asks for support. Let's send advisors to train their army. This is obviously going to reduce the popularity of the Dominion of India and the Princely Federation, which is the other Indian state, with us. The end of the first Congress, and that's going to give us some political power. Good. So the International Congress national focus has been completed because, well, we've had the Congress, and this also is going to give us some actual national focus to follow up on the promises that we've made in the Congress. For example, helping out the Bartia Commune, etc., etc. This is going to be very useful for the Bartia Commune if it's anything like Darkest Hour. Having played the Bartia Commune in Darkest Hour, I remember the help that you get from the French being very important in the development of your country. The Triad Syndicate declared war on the legation cities. Oh, damn. Interesting. I've never seen this happen. This is what I love about Kaiserreich. There's always something different that happens. The legation cities are essentially a collection of coastal city-states. Well, not really city-states, more like coastal colonies, dependencies in China that were formed after, I believe, 1926 in the Kaiserreich lore, because there was a crisis in China around that time. Pretty similar to real life, but essentially it was ended with German intervention. The Germans took a bunch of coastline areas such as Tianjin and Qingdao, which was theirs to begin with, but they've taken and kept control of it. They've also taken quite a lot of territory and given it to the control of a company, the Allgemeine Ostasiatischen Gesellschaft, the most hard to read country ever, which is also a very interesting country to play as, even though it's not really a country, it's a company, but you get the deal. And then there's the legation cities, but apparently there's a civil war happening. The main problem is the fact that in Hearts of Iron 4 you cannot get anything like the pop-up system that tells you what events are happening in other countries, such as in Darkest Hour or Hearts of Iron 2. So we're going to be largely blind to the happenings of the world unless we are informed by a war or something like that. So since we've taken communal industrialization, we can take innovation funding, which is going to unlock the following focuses: the Blanqui Research Institute, synthetic resources, electric machines, etc. We're going to take the Blanqui Research Institute and then rush down to scientific spirit and then move on to other things. Because obviously we want that research slot as quickly as possible, but then we also want some other national focuses because they're going to help our allies. They're going to help our army. Especially, they're going to help our allies with the over here, the Phalanstère International, which is going to give civilian factories to our allies all over the world, which is obviously very, very important. Even some countries that aren't yet in our faction, such as the Barfia Commune, but even ones that are part of our enemies right now, such as Ukraine, which can have a revolution happen. Hopefully that will happen. Who knows? Okay, looks like some of our divisions are fully equipped. Let's take the ones that are fully equipped and train them, because I like having fully trained guys. Also because, again, my rule is going to be to not build any more infantry divisions. So the ones that I do have are going to be important to keep and preserve as much as possible. So we're starting to get some nice industry going. At the beginning of the game, the Germans have a much better industrial and military apparatus than you have, but their problem is that they have a lot of sort of the same problems that France has in the standard game, namely the fact that they have, for example, quenched militarism. They've already, won a great war. They're already kind of, they've got a little bit of a hubris, a little bit of a they've lost their taste for conquest essentially. So they've got a lot of malices to building armies. Then they've also got this terrible modifier. This is ridiculous. 70% increased land doctrine research time from victors of the Weltkrieg. Obviously, in this universe, the World War is called the Weltkrieg because everything is more German. I like these little touches. For now, I'm gonna end the first part, and I'm gonna come at you with a second part. There's a lot of research that has been finished, so I feel like that's gonna be the focus of my second part, at least as a start, getting our research sorted out. So I'm gonna see you then.